A very good evening to all. Today's workshop, Be Kind to Yourself, will focus on the stress, anxiety, and eventual burnout that the animal protection workers go through, and will also provide basic techniques to manage the compassion fatigue. Our speaker for the session, Jaishree, is a qualified counselor with almost 2 decades of experience working with various child and family welfare projects. In 2008, when the third stage ovarian cancer relapsed, she realized that she needed to go beyond her treatment and look within for her own healing. Soon after, she completed neuro-linguistic programming practitioner course, an inner child therapist course, and trained to become a Heal Your Life workshop leader and a life coach. She is now a certified whole plant-based nutritionist from Cornell University. As a wellness coach and cancer coach, she helps people to connect with themselves and become aware of their own strength and body's healing power. For the last 5 years, Jaishree has been a health coach and a nutritionist consultant with Sharan, an organization whose mission is to empower one to reach their highest health potential with long term lifestyle changes. We now proceed with a presentation highlighting various aspects of burnout and compassion fatigue and ways to deal with it. Before we move ahead, I request all audience to share their questions with us by typing in the Ask a Question box, which is on the left side of the screen. We will take them towards the end of the session. Over to you, Jaishree.
Hello, welcome you all for this talk today. Be kind to yourself by identifying and managing burnout and compassion fatigue. So, uh, before I start a quote, I am reminded of Louise's quote: "The thought we choose to think are the tools we use to paint the canvas of our lives." It's a very powerful quote. What we think about ourselves becomes true for us. I believe, that everyone, myself included, is responsible for everything in our lives. This is what Louis says: the best and the worst. Every thought we think is creating our future. Each one of us create our experiences by our thoughts and feelings. The thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. We create the situation and then give our power away by blaming the other person for our frustrations and stresses. Isn't it right? So, what are some of the things that stress us out? What are your physical and emotional reactions when these things happen? So we usually refer to the events out there as if they are the things that cause stress for us. But truthfully, if you look at it, those events have only the potential for stress because the reaction happens inside us. Whatever is happening outside is not the reason. The reaction inside, the disturbance is what we feel. The all those emotional appeals all happens within us. But the good news here is that when you take responsibility of your own reactions, then you take control and you can learn to change those reactions. So we take control of the situation. Uh, at the basic level, if you look at it, stress is innate response to something that is considered potentially dangerous or life-threatening. So let's not think that stress is entirely undesirable. It is important to recognize that stress response exists in all of us for a good reason. In a potentially hazardous situation, the body produces those high levels of stress hormones, the cortisol, the adrenaline, which trigger the flight and the flight responses within us. So, this is to protect us against a potentially dangerous situation. When we are in a potentially dangerous situation, this is our survival instinct. So, when does this stress leads to burnout? There is a fine line between this being stressed out and then going into the burnout stage. So if a person is stressed out for a long period of time and does not take those mental break, it can cause nerve damage and lead to burnout. But when the danger is real, it's going to really help us. But when we are just having those stressful thoughts and a continuous mental chatter of negative inner dialogues, we give our body the signal that our life is in danger. And when actually it is actually that's not true. Everything is fine. It's only the thoughts which we have which is giving those signals to the body that our life is in danger. So short term stress can be very protective and help us to deal with challenges and help us to get moving and take those actions to grow and to evolve. But when the stress becomes excessive, too much to deal with, then it affects one's health. So we have a whole lot of lifestyle diseases like heart attacks and asthma, diabetes, high blood pressure, ulcers, cancers, all, and even mental illnesses like depression, anxiety. All these are stress related, and we need to really look into the cause, what is stressing us, and work on that level instead of taking some treatment for those illnesses. Now, the precise condition that contribute to stress differ from person to person. Although we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change how we respond to them. Stress can be managed or reduced very effectively following various techniques, processes, and building, certain techniques within us to help us to deal with our day-to-day stresses. And the techniques definitely help us to remain calm in high pressure situations and avoid the consequences of prolonged stress and burnout. You must remember burnout occurs when an individual experiences too much stress for a long period of time. So he needs to really work on those stressors. So there are two key elements to mastering stress and creating a life in which you can thrive. So first is what? To discover all these disempowering patterns that amplify our stress and enhance your ability to value and take care of yourself. So we can follow a lot of stress buster activities. So one needs to develop and practice a comprehensive range of stress management and self-care resources. This definitely helps us to value, respect ourselves, prioritize our well-being, and develop confidence to be more assertive and understand what's happening within us, and learning ways and means to transform our thoughts, our emotions, and be able to step back into our power. So these self-care practices really helps. We can have a lot of physical care practices, mental, emotional. There are a whole lot of them which we can really learn to help us. And the second, to know what is holding us back from applying these strategies. So many times, most of the strategies we all know, but we fail to use it for our own self for various reasons. So let's understand what is the reasons. The research says that the underlying pattern, many arising from our childhood, encourage us to take care of everyone else but ignore our own needs. So we keep putting others first. So when we have a tendency to keep others happy, it's hard to say no or set those clear boundaries. And or to set those clear boundaries becomes more difficult to manage our own stress and give our best. So we often, and this happens because we often put others first and not look into our needs and our interests. This happens especially in our work where it is more of a vocation. So when our work is of any welfare projects, our passion and commitment or enthusiasm can often lead to a pattern of overgiving. So we do not give so much of ourselves to make others whole that we are left in pieces. So that's what happens to many of us. So, in order to create time in this busy schedule and it is necessary to de-stress, relax, and recharge ourselves. And it's important to release those disempowering patterns and learn new ways to value ourselves and respect ourselves. So once you learn to value and love and respect yourselves, you can choose in any situation how to respond. And you stop giving too much of yourselves, because when we start giving too much of ourselves, we get depleted very soon. And so we need to recharge ourselves regularly so that we don't reach that space. And when we begin to value and care for ourselves with effective mindful practice, we are able to calm our anxiety and manage our emotional turmoil more effectively and develop our skills in assertiveness. So when we shift from being that aggressive or passive state, we are more in balance and compassionate and able to effectively respond to our stressors. So, when we reduce stress and take care of our physical, emotional, and spiritual well being, it becomes much easier to avoid the life changing impact of burnout, exhaustion, or stress related illnesses. So, what are these self care practices? First, we need to identify, even before we start following it and making it a habit for ourselves, we must first need to identify our limiting beliefs or those unhealthy behavior patterns that limit our ability to value and care for ourselves. So, if you don't release those disempowering thoughts or traits, it's impossible to reduce stress and enhance your care for yourself. So so it is important to ask yourself those powerful questions: how, what, why. What is it making us behave like that? Why are we doing the things what we are doing, and how is it benefiting us? So those are going to really help you to understand what are your limiting beliefs. So your limiting beliefs can be anything, like, have to put myself, others first. I can't say no. I don't want to upset anyone. I have to keep everyone happy. I hate to have conflicts. And the self care is, being selfish. And my needs are not so important. So, how many of this sounds very familiar? So, this can go on endless. There are so many like that. So, we need to take a few minutes to reflect on these beliefs of ours. How did it protect us before? Like, there must have been a positive intention at some time. How did it protect us before? What was the need, to that we have such beliefs? Probably we developed such beliefs, and did it help us to meet our needs at some time? And is it helping us now? So we need to look into all these, and how these old patterns have been helpful in the past, and how is it not helping you now. So, and what are the benefits of letting go and releasing these old benefits? So, that's what we need to understand. What are the benefits of letting go and releasing these old beliefs? So, it might help you with your stress levels. You are able to prioritize yourself care practices. It might help you to build your confidence, self respect, and these might be the benefits of letting go of all those limiting beliefs you might realize. So, self care practices are very important. Self care practices of the mind. Let's take the mind. Our mind is a powerful organ, and we need to take control of our mind and not be controlled by the mind. So, choosing new beliefs is definitely going to help us. We create those new empowering beliefs, through affirmations and visualization, and keep repeating those statements for ourselves, like, it's life is okay, and it's okay to put myself first sometimes, and when I look after myself, I have more time to give others. Taking time to relax, enjoy myself, boosts my energy and lifts my spirit. So these are all the new ways of thinking we can develop, and we'll be able to release our own self saboteurs. So that becomes quite important. And while doing this, we need to take support. We can ask for help. And another important practice which really helps in doing all this is the mirror work. Like it is now mirror work is nothing but just taking a small mirror or using your bathroom mirror and looking just into your own eyes. Stay focused onto your eyes, and what happens is you can become aware of what feelings, thoughts do you have, uh, and uh, and look deeper within yourself. So that really becomes very critical to understand your positive feelings for yourself, and it's a very powerful exercise. And another thing which we can develop is, mindful breathing exercises, grounding exercises, connecting more within, doing lots of mindful practices. So these things help to declutter your mind and calm your mind. And journaling is also a simple way to express gratitude, feelings, emotions, and it's a habit, something which we can do every day, morning and evening. And you can have these simple questions while you're doing your journaling. What went well in the day? What got me joy? What did I value about myself? So these are the simple questions you can ask yourself while you're doing journaling, and it will surely help. And another self-care practices of the body is very important is self-forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. It is not necessary to feel guilty or that feeling, I'm not good enough. We knew only that much at that time, and if we knew better, we would have definitely done better. So it is definitely very important to do self-forgiveness even before you start forgiving somebody else. And taking care of your body, all the physical needs, eating the right nutrition, doing proper exercises, and sleeping. Sleeping is another important thing, like sleeping at the right time, eating at the right time, exercising at the right time. Definitely keeps your energy levels really high, and you are more in the calmer state of mind. And and it's so important to do all of what we are doing by just having some fun, having putting that joy in doing whatever we are doing. That's really important, and being really creative, bringing that creativity from within us in doing all what we are doing. And it's a wonderful thing to develop a hobby, like play music, dancing, painting. Those activities we can really bring us to the now, and we can move from being that stress state to the more centered and grounded state. And another thing which you can have is good groups of friends, building that friendship. And reading books are our best friends. We can read books which help us to really get to the now, and there are different varieties of books available. And um, and also becoming part of book clubs. It helps because as a group you really are motivated to read, share, and there is a good healthy participations happening in groups. And pamper yourself. You don't need others to pamper you. You can pamper your own self. Take the time for yourself to love and care yourself. And being out in nature, having time with nature is another important thing. Then mindful and meditation practices, for having developing them, are very really are powerful tools and proven over centuries to bring you into the present moment and to calm your mind. Because past and the future is where it gives us stress. Being in the present, you are mm, more calmer and more available for yourself, and you're able to relax your mind and have those clarity in our thoughts. There's a lot of awareness exercise and mindful breathing exercise which one can find on the net, which you can use. You can be part of groups which regularly meet on weekly basis to practice. So those things are going to be really helpful. And be kind with yourself when you make these small changes. Be compassionate and take those steps. Take small steps at a time, because these are all new practices and it's going to take time to become part and parcel of our lifestyle. So when you started in a small way, and be consistent so that you get into that space of in the now, because these are practices not going to be easy to follow in the initial stages. But as you do slowly, you reach a state that you don't feel stressed out at all. You're mostly able to handle all the life challenges with real ease. So that's where we need to go at some point, isn't it? So let's practice some processes today which helps us to de-stress when we are feeling really.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jaishree, for this beautiful presentation. You have provided clarity on a lot of points regarding the anxiety, stress, and the burnout we usually experience. There was a point wherein you mentioned about limiting beliefs and also about positive intention. So I wanted to know, how do we identify that our beliefs are actually negative beliefs? And is there a way to turn them into positive beliefs? You're on mute.
Sorry, my throat is a little bad. we can we can identify our limiting beliefs, because when we are stressed out and we are looking at life and we are stressed out, we know from what our thoughts are, because many times our thoughts create those emotions and create those stresses. So we need to work on them, and most of the times we become aware, like these thoughts are, our past conditioning and how it's affecting our body. And the negative thoughts or messages, we need to remember, that implied that you are not good enough. And these messages could be verbal or implied, and they could have come for you from your parents or from relatives, friends, wherever the source it is, because our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe. So when I choose to believe, so it's all about, allowing yourself to become aware and trying to change those beliefs, because you have unlimited choices. Like it's so important to think that, I can think my life is all a mess, or at the same time I can think my life is all fine and everything is going on well. So you have the choice to choose your thoughts and your beliefs. So instead of being on the negative, you can start telling everything is fine, because everything is bad is also not true. So you can choose to think that everything is fine and life is all wonderful, and that helps us to make those shifts, because we start feeling better, we start feeling more happier, and in that space things really work out better for us.
Absolutely. Thank you. You have once somewhere mentioned about an exercise, should and could. So can you
Yeah.
please elaborate on that?
So when what happens is, the shoulds, we have a lot of shoulds in our life, and mostly it is, we would have picked it up when we were very very young. Like, I should, it would have started off when we were much young. I should be the best behaved child, or I should be lovable. And and we continue to operate from that space of should. Like, for example, if I have to say I should get up early in the morning, now when I'm not able to get up early in the morning, then I am going to get stressed out. I'm going to, like, if you ask a question why, then I give a lot of reasons. I need to do this, I need to do that. And that's actually, when you use the should, it comes mostly it is the most damaging words in our language. That's what Louis says. So every time when I use the word should, we are making ourselves as if we are wrong, or someone else is wrong, or something is going to get wrong, or we want to move away from being wrong. So in that space we give ourselves a place that actually we can never be wrong, or we are wrong. So we can move from that space that, and choose to make another choice for ourselves. So that's what is like, the same sentence, I need to get up early in the morning. So if I really wanted, I could get up early in the morning. Instead of saying I should get up early in the morning, you can always say, if I really wanted, I could get up early in the morning. Then you ask yourself, what is stopping me from doing that? Then we have a whole lot of reasons, like I don't sleep early, or I can sleep more, doesn't matter because I've gone to bed late. So you get more clarity and say, okay, you're not beating yourself up, and you're giving yourself a choice to do what you want. So in that choice, you have more freedom with yourself, and you are more freer, and actually you move, that that energy also moves in your body, like you're more in the positive space because you come from a choice to do. And the same thing happens even for others, like since you give that choice to yourself by moving from that should to could, you do it for the same for people. Like you don't say this person should behave like this person should be friendly with the animals. You can always say, okay, he could be happy with friendly with his animals, and okay, what stops him from being that? So it might be like, I'm not aware. Like for example, today I saw the movie on the elephant. I was not aware of so many things. So I said, oh God, this is all I don't understand. So, then I'm really moving from a different space. Then I can go into the could. Okay, I could, next time when I see an elephant in the temple, I could go up and tell those people, please don't, treat that animal like this. So it's a choice which we give us, and the same choice goes to the others also. So you don't come from the people should, you say people could, and that actually stresses you less, and you feel more of joy and in the now. So that's a wonderful thing. So every time we can ask our shoulds, are we coming from should when we are stressed out, and move to the could. So that really helps us a lot.
Thank you. Yes, that proves that words are so important, and words are very powerful whenever we speak to ourselves as well. And
Yeah.
talking about that, you mentioned about affirmations as well.
Uh,
So at times, using affirmation seems like a very difficult task because we are saying something which is not true for me. I'm saying something, everything is fine, life is good. I may not feel that it is the truth right now. So, what do you think? How would you tell us to create the affirmations? And are there some rules that we should follow?
See, affirmations are really powerful. It is the words which we are telling ourselves. And it's not that we don't talk, we have those self talk all the time talking, we have those thoughts. So it is just becoming aware and changing them from negative to positive. And when it comes to affirmations, it's so important to become very clear what you want. That is the first thing, you decide what you want. Like, that is most important. Like if I'm going to example is the most simplest thing which we all start with when we do affirmation and see whether it works, is to find a parking. So you say, I want a parking in this place, and I'm going to get it, and you just have that feeling. So when you do affirmations, it's so important even to feel it, and not doubt it. Come from a space of trust that I am going to get it, and it's going to happen. And most of our affirmations should be in the present, and it should be positive, and it should be very personal. You can't do affirmations for others. It's for yourself, and it's in the present, and in the positive thing. That's another thing which we need to remember. And another thing is, add the energetic feeling in the affirmation. Bring in that, oh wonderful, I feel wonderful, the feelings part of it. And so that's thing. And when you another thing which about affirmation is the present. Like, I have it, I have received, I am. So like if you're telling a personal affirmation, I am adorable, things like that, those that is becomes very powerful when you're telling an affirmations, and it's so important. And another thing is trust it. Like, that affirmation is going to work and not come from a fear. Like, you might affirm something but then have a deep down fear. So it's trusting it and saying, yes, this is going to happen. And another thing is, when you do affirmations, it's not like, example, I'm having affirmation, I'm going on a holiday to a place. It's not like, outlining it how it's going to happen, not thinking about all of it. And the universe decides how it has to give it to you. You just say, you decide, I'm going on a holiday, and feel it. And it really works instead, because the universe knows it to bring it in various ways. Like example, if you go to a restaurant, you order the food, you don't look in it what the spices he's going to put, how it's going to come to you. You just order it and you're fine. So it's the same thing, and you trust the chef is going to bring it to you. So it's the same thing which we have to do. And uh, and trust your inner wisdom, the guidance and the inner wisdom, we all have it. So we don't have to push ourselves. When you're pushing yourself, then you realize there is something wrong. So the trusting that inner wisdom is really really important. And then feeling gratitude, like gratitude is the most important thing. We all have so much. We get up in the morning, we don't even think that next breath, where is it coming? It's coming for us. And everything, there's so many things happening so beautifully for us. So it's really nice to come from that space of gratitude. And in that gratitude, things open up and things happen. So that is another important thing. And even when you're affirming, having that feeling that we're going to get it and it's going to happen to us. It'll take time. It's not that you can't put a timeline and say I want it tomorrow. It might take a long time also. But then trusting it and working towards it, and so that really works. So these are the small guidelines which we do. We make mistakes initially, but we learn it when we consistently do it, and affirmations become part of our life. We get it. It comes. It's not that I got it in one day. It took time, but then and trust it, and it happens. Because when negative things happen, we say, "Oh God, I thought of it and happened." Don't we tell that? So same thing. You can think positive and say, "Oh God, I thought and it has happened." So
Yes,
that's
that's absolutely wonderful. You spoke about gratitude right now, and something that is coming to my mind is working for animals. We see a lot of cruelty happening around us. We see a lot of unwanted things as well. How do we feel that? So, where does the gratitude come from during those times? What can one be thankful for? Because it's not very easy to shift the thought from that situation to a place of gratitude.
Yes, it is. It is difficult in such situations because there is nothing to feel gratitude. But even just being there, that you're being there for that animal, you're being there compassionate and trying to do something. So that also is very powerful, I feel, because I used to work with lots of children, and it's not that things shifted within overnight or anything like that. But now if I look back, I was there for them for some way, and I did help them in some way. So if you're so that also becomes a very important thing, that feeling that you are there and you are caring and you're trying to give something, and being gratitude in that space also helps you to take things further and do it, the thing. And so that's even that feeling that that's sharing that grief or whatever it is, because so many people are indifferent to the entire thing. So you are there, to be there, and you're in the right place at the right time, kind of thing.
Yes, thank you so much. There was one point, again, I'll go back to the presentation. And in the beginning, you said that our thoughts create our reality. That is a bit scary because that means we have to be conscious every time of what we are thinking. And then that is another way of like living in a manner in which we are just thinking about what we are going to think next. How then, how does it, how do we live comfortably having this thought that whatever I'm going to think is going to again manifest into my reality?
It's see, research says we have about 80,000 thoughts in a day. Actually, we don't know. Our subconscious mind absorbs everything and it keeps it to us. And most of the time we are in that autopilot mode. We just react. We don't even respond. And even if somebody has to tell you, call your name when you're young, your dad calls your name, immediately our thought is, oh God, he's calling us to scold us. Isn't it not? So that's how we operate from. So it is just becoming aware, what are we thinking and what are we feeling? Because every thought we create, there is a feeling, a sensation in our body. And it is just becoming aware of that. You don't have to do anything through all mindful practice, and through you can do breathing, chanting, vipassana, any of those. We become aware with our body sensation. Our body doesn't tell lies. When I have a thought which is scary, my body gets tightened, my body freezes. uh, when I feel sad, my body does have those emotions, heart gets heavy. So it's just becoming aware. It is more of getting into that space, and then you can be able to shift. Like, if I'm having a thought I'm not good enough, or I have to rush today and I have so much to do, then how would your day be? You're all the time rushing, rushing, rushing. So your adrenal and cortisol is secreted because your body thinks you are in some danger zone. Actually you are not. You can be more peaceful, and in that mindful practice you can do everything beautifully, and everything is sorted out. So it is just working on yourself, introspection, and understanding more from what space you are coming from.
I have a question. Um, so there is a feeling of isolation that happens usually when somebody is going through a burnout or a very stressful situation. They feel that what they are going through is very unique and nobody will be able to understand them. And this isolation in turn aggravates that situation. So, how to deal with this feeling of isolation?
So so that's when friends can be of help, because when you are in that state you hardly come to know what you're going through. But if you're with a group with good friends and support group, then definitely it helps. And as a group, if you're working for an organization, it is nice to with along with work, to have little sessions where you have that break time where each one talks, that authentic relationship, or some ascension games where you just drop everything and just have that true connection with each other. So you build that bond for yourself. Then when you are in this space, you can easily connect with somebody, or even somebody recognizes it and he is there, he or she is there to help you out, because everybody goes through it in our lives. And if you're part of support groups, it really helps. And it just doesn't allow you to, it doesn't suck you into it. And the awareness, there are supporters, there are counselors where you can go and seek help. Even that really helps a lot. And now the awareness has grown a lot. Probably even few years that awareness was not there, but now there are a lot of groups like that where we can go and connect.
Yes, absolutely. There was a question asked by someone. So, when a person, supposedly a friend or a colleague, is going through a burnout, they cannot realize it, but the people around them are able to sense it, and they are not able to comfortably communicate it because there are some kind of apprehension. So, what would be the best way to communicate this to the person who is going through a difficult situation to ask them to get some help?
See that works from individual to individual. See, another thing is we must understand that we can't push somebody to take help. That somebody has to realize, yes, I need help. So we can probably give lots of avenues. If an organization can have little workshops, little mindful exercises which is open for everybody to attend, then it's organized like many organizations have it, then that might help. Because you can't push somebody. That person only has to realize and go there for help. So that's something at least I learned from my own work. Even when I find that when I work with people, if people come on their own, they are more open to that healing and more receptive. But if they were pushed by somebody, then there is a lot of resistance to it. But definitely, as friends and groups, we can be there for that person, make him comfortable, make him feel that that there are people there, and he's understood. It can be a family, it can be support groups. Then definitely it's going to help the person, and be there instead of just ignoring him and just leaving him to manage on his own. Even a
Yes,
silently being there and holding that space for that person also helps a lot.
yes, yes, that is very important. So, I've started getting questions from the audience, and I will just share the questions with you. How does our food affect our mental health? Is there any evidence and visible impact of benefits of plant-based food on mental health?
Yes, so there's a lot of evidence of thing, and even in Sharan, we have many people sharing it. Because food, like even in our traditional wisdom, you say sattvic, rajasic, tamasic food. So if you're going to eat food which is processed, or even animals who have gone through a lot of cruelty and have that food, there's a lot of stress hormones secreted in that food which you're going to have. So it's going to help us, and it is going to affect us. And if it's overcooked and over processed food, the food is depleted of all enzymes, all nutrients. So then when you're going to eat that food, your body is just digesting the food, and it's not getting any nutrient at the end of the day. It's all toxic waste. So in that case, at the end of the day, you are so tired when you have eaten a whole lot of processed and processed food, and food which is overcooked. You are depleted of all energy by the end of the day, because your body is overworked in digesting and not getting anything out of it. So food plays a very important role when you eat whole food. Like you look at in nature, a horse or a horse is more active than a tiger, because a horse eats a nice grass and it eats nice food with lots of nutrients, is able to run and jump. So you look at any herbivorous animal, it's more stronger and powerful and more active and than a animal which is eating, a meat eating animal. So food really plays an important role, and even helps us to de-stress. So even if you are eating a good food, healthy food, uh, in a long run you actually feel much better. Your energy levels improve and you start feeling much better.
And I would also like to add the colorful vegetables and fruits that we
Yes,
have. That is
yes, true.
also really, really amazing.
True. The rainbow colors, they have
Yes.
different kinds of nutrients and phytonutrients and all those, which helps us.
So then the next one is, can't we do affirmation for others?
See, it's not that we first of all, we don't know what that person wants. So affirmations are basically personal. So it's not that we can affirm for somebody, but we can always in general affirm, wishing him good or wishing him well, and helping in that way we can do. But we can't say that, okay, I'll affirm uh, that he what he needs, because we don't know what is the universe, what has got the universe got stored for each of us, each one's thing. But we can definitely affirm for the goodness of others. Like we have a healing technique called ho ho no pono, where I love you, I forgive you, thank you. And so we can probably use those kinds of phrases to probably change the energy. Supposing we having some disturbance and trigger with somebody, we can use these affirmations to change the energy between the individuals, and bring in more of peace and calmness there.
Uh, Then sometimes we have to watch some cruel videos for investigative reasons or to find facts. How to cope with the fatigue and jolt that we go through from that?
Yes, so that's sad. I remember seeing also films like Earthlings and you, but it is like uh, becoming, see, mindful practices help in that, because when you are seeing it, not getting sucked into it. You are just seeing it. That is a kind of a detach. Uh, I won't call it detachment. It comes with practice. Initially, you really feel upset only, but you keep becoming aware that you are there to help, and you're seeing the movie to get the information instead of getting sucked into it. It's not like you see a movie and you cry. Then you are involved in that entire thing. You are so it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but again, mindful practice like breathing in, breathing out, getting yourself to the now, and saying, okay, it is something which is happening out there, and I am here to help. So in this position, what can I do? What can my contribution be here to do it? And so that way of thing might help. Of course, it's a process. It cannot happen in one day. It takes time, but working on that, it really helps.
Yes, sure. Mm, if I know that things are going really bad in my life, but I start to tell myself that everything is going good, isn't it lying to ourselves? And does it create more good than bad?
Yes, so it's not that it's not that you numb yourself and not look into whatever is happening to you, because if something is going bad, you're going to have a certain kind of sensation in your body. Now I'm not saying that you numb it and just push it aside, then you suppress all those emotions. So it is becoming aware, yes, I am going through all of it, and here I am, this is what is happening to me. And then working from that space. And if you really need, in that case, some professional help, you can always seek help and work, because there are lots of techniques you can do to work on it, because sometimes it might be coming even from some deep rooted issues which you may not be aware. So definitely seek professional help to work on it. And um, and and that really helps to make the shift. But it is not suppressing, because once you suppress and not deal with whatever is going with you in your life, then definitely you are prone to illnesses, because emotions are energy in motion. So we need to deal with our emotions and work on it. So that's very important, becoming aware and then work. And if it's everything is a mess, then seek help, go to friends who will support you and get it sorted.
Yes. How to deal with the feeling of not being able to feel fulfilled with the work that one does for animals.
Uh, so that's something we all feel. Like I can only talk from my own personal experience. When I started work as a counselor and a social worker working for NGOs, see, we go with the thing of, wow, I can do a lot. But that is not the reality when you go there in the actual field. There, the reality is totally different. Like, even to save an animal, it's not that you just go and do it. There are so many hassles to it, and putting up with all of that really drains you, and it it it's so it's like, I would say, it's like when our mentors used to talk to us, used to say, see, even if 1% of the child studies and goes to higher class, be satisfied. Don't expect all the 100 that you are working with to become go to college. So that's what it is, because it is not only fully in our hands. We can only contribute. So you do your best and leave it, and not get sucked into that entire thing. And of course, it comes with, again, working and then understanding, because as when you are young, you really want to do, and you feel so discouraged when it's not happening. But it is just saying, okay, this much only can happen, and then leave it, and slowly organically things improve, I think. Like when we started off, I remember when I started in 2008 as a vegan, there was hardly anything. There was hardly any. Now when I look, so much of awareness, so much of vegan restaurants, so much people talk about animal cruelty, and it's not taken so much for granted. So things will improve. It will. So in that way, to think that it's going to work out, let me contribute my bit and things will change. So being positive in that way. I mean, this is what I do, so I'm just sharing what is it works for me.
No, it is one of the things that we can certainly do, because otherwise we just expect a lot from ourselves, and that is also one of the reasons why we don't feel fulfilled at the end of the day. We feel like we are failing because all that we had expected to achieve was not cannot be done in a single day. It'll take
Yes,
some
true,
time.
true. That's true.
There is one
I,
question. Yes, I'm sorry.
and
Please.
it's like appreciating yourself for the little what you do, encouraging and loving yourself, then you are motivated to do more and more. So that's so important. Otherwise, if you get demotivated, then you can't contribute. So even that little thing you do, end of the day, writing gratitude and appreciating yourself, oh, I could do this much, then you are motivated the next day to do something more. So
That is one
that's,
part often neglected by everyone, appreciating oneself.
yes, that's so important.
There's another question. Can you shed light on any sustainable practices at an individual level to heal oneself?
So, sustainable, easy practices would be like mirror work. Mirror work really helps, because when you are looking into the mirror, you are connecting to your true self within yourself. You're looking into your eyes. So that, and talking to the mirror, that's one thing Louise always talks, and I have used it a lot, and it really works to make it sustainable. Or even affirmations, writing daily journal really helps, because you're putting in all your thoughts into it, your something which went well, something which didn't do well. Like we have a book called Artist Way, written by Julian Cameron. So she says, get up in the morning, write 3 pages, just don't bother. You just write your heart, whatever is coming, just put it down, allow it to flow. So, those are the things, little things. It doesn't take much time, and it really boosts your spirits and energizes you. And it's very easy, because it is what you are putting in, what is your thought. So then, you declutter yourself regularly. You're not carrying that burden in your head. You have put it in paper and it's gone. And if something which you don't want, just tear it, throw it, burn it, so that it's like, you're telling yourself, I'm letting go of this stuff, I don't want it any longer. And it becomes very therapeutic, and it really helps.
Yes. Okay, so there is one question. How do we say no without feeling guilty? It's always a dilemma, either disappointing others or feeling guilty myself.
Yes, so that's a big thing. It's a guilt is one emotion which which we all must really work on. So it is understanding your limitations, your boundaries. So there's a little work you need to do on yourself to move from that guilt space. Because from guilt you're not moving into, if you're in guilt, you're not moving into a space of love and connection and all that. And if you're going to be in fear, also the same thing. So we need to appreciate ourselves and know our limitations. And when we say no, we come from a space of that balance, looking into your needs and your thing. It's not being in, my, like, passive or aggressive. It's being more in the assertive space, and understanding your boundaries and what you can do. Because sometimes we don't have time. So we need to tell no to the other person, that I can do it tomorrow. And then at the same time, not feel guilty about it. And even if another person feels no, ask yourself, when other person says no, how do you feel? Are you comfortable with it? Because many times we are not comfortable, we are hurt, we feel, oh, how could he tell no? So just become aware, okay, this is what I'm feeling, so I don't like to tell no to the other person because of my own thing. And so it is just, again, going deeper within yourself, working on yourself.
Yes.
And
So there is one other question. When one is dealing with anxiety, the most frequent responses to that state can often seem short sighted and somewhat demeaning of the internal struggle. When the burnout is lesser of a phase that comes and goes and becomes more of a part of every day, how does one deal with it? So, I suppose the question is that making the anxiety and burnout like a habit. It is just there as a part of life. It comes and goes. Then how does
yes,
one deal with it?
so that's, see, when you're in that state, you're not actually giving your best. Let's understand that. So we are not giving our best, because from anxiety and burnout, uh, we are not being our normal or centered, balanced state. So that's not the way we need to be. We need to be more in a space of, the joy, that comfort, and happy thing. So we need to look deeper from where this anxiety and burnout comes. Like, what are your disempowering beliefs, what are your patterns? So that's what you need. Where is your shoulds, where's your codes? I should be like this, or where is your stressors coming from? uh, so that's where we need to look deeper. Because if you're going to be in that state, then, one day I am okay coping with everything, the next day I'm not okay, it becomes miserable. So it's not comfortable really, and it's going to affect your everything, everything. So we need to get into that space of joy and happiness. So it's nice. So one way to deal with it is, you can't be working everything on your own, to attend nice workshops. There are wonderful workshops which we can which, led by people, and a lot of psycho spiritual kind, which helps, like Vipassana, or heal your life workshops, which is just 2 days. And it's basically, the space is safe where you can share and even discuss exactly what's happening to you. And in that space, we are able to let go, even understand from where we are coming from. The thing of, even like an example, if I'm going to operate from a space of I'm not good enough, just say if I'm not good enough and I'm going to the office and looking at everybody is super, they are too good, and I'm operating from a space if I'm not good enough, then just imagine how your life would be, how your actions would be, and how you would be performing. And so then that's all not going to help you at all. So we need to work at a deeper level from where I am operating. Why is it I'm coming from a space I'm not good enough? So that requires a lot of self introspection and self healing and self thing. So anxiety and all comes from that space. You're really anxious, you're fearful. It's basically from being fear. So what are those things which bring in this fear and anxiety to yourself? It's not to the day to day tasks which you are going to. It is definitely something much deeper within ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. One last question that I'll be asking you. So you have in your presentation spoken about meditation. Meditation is for somebody, it may be just thinking about certain thing. For somebody, it may be just going blank, closing their eyes and going blank for some time, or maybe saying some mantra. Um, there are different ways of meditating. But one common thing that I have heard from people that I can't meditate because I'll start thinking about something else. This is one common thing that people say. I can't keep my mind blank because some thoughts will come and it will break my meditation. So, do you have to say something to that?
See, yes, correct. I connect with it because when I started also, see, it is not that meditating, it's not that thing of sitting for hours together and going into some, I'm not talking about that. Even a 10 minute, a 10-second, 1 minute where you just connect to your breath and come to the now. Because we are in the now. Our body is in balance. It is not in that, um, in that active, like, even just connecting to your breath and connecting to that heartbeat, which just takes 5 seconds, 10 minutes. It's all mindful practices. It's called de-stressing. So it is just closing your eyes for 5 seconds, 5 minutes. Not, I'm not even saying 5 minutes, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and that is enough. Because when you just close your eyes and connect to your breath, maybe you can chant something, and and once your thoughts wander, just come back. And that's how they start vipassana practice. And then by the time you sit, you can sit for 1 hour, like that. Because what happens is that is when your body is slowly in that now, and it's peaceful, and the breath flow happens, the blood circulation happens, and so you really feel energized. So it's like the yoga nidra which you do in yoga. So something like that we can do for 5 minutes. When you work for 2 hours, just break, just have a short thing of 5 minutes, and that really takes us a long way. Even at the end of the day, you don't feel tired and stressed out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jaishree. There are so many questions, and even from my side, I can go on because I would love to explore more. But as we have to end the session now, I would like to thank all
Yes.
the audience who have attended this, and thank you for being the speaker of this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity for this, because I know that it's, everything comes in one, like, the compassion, the environment, and looking after ourselves all goes hand in hand, and it's so important to look at it as a whole.
Thank you so much.